Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Lebanon Board of Park Commissioners. I'd like to call the meeting to order and let the roll show that all members are present except Mike Burns. If everyone has had a chance to look at the minutes from November, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carried. And I'd just like to take a minute to thank Mike Burns for serving on the Park Board. This would have been his last meeting, but he was unable to attend tonight. He is going off the Park Board. And I just want to thank him, and with his service on the board, we've accomplished a lot of things. The Seashore Water Park, and now we're entering into the splash pad and the dog park, and he's been an instrumental member of this committee, and we'd just like to thank him and wish him all the best and keep him in our thoughts and prayers as he is going through some health issues. So thank you, Mike. I know you're watching. He told me. Okay, is there any old business to come before the board? John, do you want to update on the...
Let me bang this speaker around. Sure can. The restroom and barn addition, as far as where we are on that project, we're finalizing electrical, heating, and ventilation this week. Meeting with Gary Ladd, who's the engineer on the project, this week also to go over the plan specifications and bidding schedule. And then next week, the week of 12/10, make any spec adjustments that we, specification adjustments that we need to, and submit to fire and safety building services to put out for bid. And then the other project, the dog park, we have the water that's installed out to the site, and also a drinking fountain now has been installed. There again, we also have fence quotes. We're ready to go forward with the fence quotes, or with the fence. We've selected a fence company. We have to get together as a board and discuss that, but we have a fence company. There again, getting real close to it. We have to run some electrical out there. We have some security that we're going to do for the key fob. All these projects will be complete in 2019, the spring, real early spring, hopefully. Before the end of May is what I'm hoping. The splash pad, I don't know if you want to update or if you want me to update. We went ahead and went before the city council. They approved an additional $425,000 for the splash pad. So that will hopefully be done. I think it's May, I wrote it down somewhere, May 10th. And if they're delayed past May 10th, it'll be a $500, so $500 a day for every day they aren't complete after May 10th. There again, the company has been selected. We had 3 bids that were opened now in a seal bid process. That was R.L. Turner, Brandt Construction, and then we went with the lower bid of E Construction out of Zionsville, Indianapolis area. There again, they are also the ones that constructed the splash pad in Greencastle just recently last year. Moving ahead with it, we probably will do a direct purchase on all the features, which will save us a considerable amount of money, and also the benches and some of those type things. So we are moving forward on it. Again, these projects will be completed then. Another project going on right now at Memorial Park is the metal roof on top of the Memorial Shelter, thanks to Rotary and their fundraising. Raised $75,000 to help us renovate it. The roof has gone on. The cupola is ready to go up as soon as weather permits. There also will be some gutter boards that need to go on, but for the most part, that's about ready, just the top of it. And then we have all the insides to do, some lighting, some cement work that will probably be carried on in the spring. That project will wrap up in 2020. That's just a few projects that I can think off the top of my hand. ahead. There's also the paths that we were talking about at Memorial Park. Weather got ahead, so it's too cold to put asphalt down, so those two paths, one coming off of Northeast Street that will go in between the cabin and the shelter, off of Northeast Street where the sidewalk is, that will connect to the front of the pool. That will not go in until the spring. Same thing with the one along 39 that will connect those paths over there. That also will not be completed until the spring because too cold and didn't get it done. So we have several projects that are all going to spring's committee crazy, but we will be ready for the 2020 celebration that we'll have. Allison is working on details for that for 2020, and also some fundraising I think she's trying to work on for the Park Foundation. She's working on sites and things we can do for fundraising to help bring in some money for the Park Foundation. And we did, well, that's all I had on the projects that I can think of. Any questions or? Progress. I'm telling you, there's quite a bit of fires in the oven. That's for sure. Quite a few meetings and a lot of engineer talk, but hopefully soon. We've got one bid down. We have a couple more to go through, and all these projects going to be construction zone in the park next year, I tell you. We also have Deb Schmucker, if you remember her, that did our master plan. She's worked on a lighting for the Memorial Park. We all know that the safety is a big issue, so she's mapped out that and hasn't reported, but we've discussed several times. I think we have another meeting next week to discuss more. But there again, she has the lighting, also some moving around in preparation for pool expansion and things like that. She's got down in the weeds a little bit more on the master plan to make sure these things all fit. And it's real good to work with her. We'll probably be wrapping that up by Christmas. I think we should have all those projects so I can report on those in January. Yeah, she's real good to work with, though. I mean, she's so educated, and she knows what she's doing. She knows a lot. So there you go.
Okay. Yes, and I'd like to say thank you to the council for appropriating the additional funding for the splash pad, and I'm in hopes that the splash pad committee will be meeting with the mayor so we can finalize all things and everybody's on the same page there. But it's very exciting to have that coming.
Oh, we get a lot of, the amenity there is just great. I think we all can agree that long time coming, and it's just going to be a great addition to that park also. So looking forward to that. Deb also, one other thing Deb was working on is the piers and things at the Conservation Club, things that I'm really not very good at that she's already done at other park systems, Bloomington and some of the others. She's worked on that to find out deck, docks and things like that. So we'll have all kinds of good pricing and be able to throw all kinds of numbers at the council, and hopefully they can help us out with some more projects.
Okay. Any other old business to come before the board? Okay, under new business, if everyone's had a chance, next year's meeting dates and approval on those. They're all scheduled for the first Wednesday of each month.
I make a motion we approve the meeting dates for 2019.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion carried. The next is the selection of board positions, which is president, vice president, and secretary. I'll open up the floor to nominations.
I move that we keep the current at positions already, that they maintain those positions.
Okay, we have a motion to keep the board positions the same as last, or this year. And that would be secretary is Karen Galvin. Yeah, I thought we had to think. And vice president is Diane Scott, and president is Lori Gross. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll have to think about it.
Yeah,
I second.
Thought you were volunteering for a second.
Oh, no. I knew she
remember
wouldn't.
from last time.
Yeah, I knew she wouldn't volunteer. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carried. That was good, Shirley. Okay, we do have a guest this evening. If you would like to step up to the microphone and state your name.
My name is Brian Benton. I've been a resident of Lebanon my entire life, 56 years. So I'm here to talk to you about Memorial Park and making it into a Christmas wonderland. People do like the lights that we do have out at the park. So that's a positive. There's some of us that wish there was a lot more. I think we could do it. It's not going to be an easy job. It's not going to be something that one person could do. It's going to take many volunteers to do it. And it's going to take a lot of money. And there are sources for that. Even Mayor Gentry mentioned I think it's called Patron City Grant.
yes, yeah.
And that's one source, but it's going to take several sources. And I would like to see this to be a community effort and not just a few individual or a few families.
Okay.
And I was out at Memorial Park last night, walking through it in the dark, and it was a really dark place.
It is a dark park, yes.
And there were people out there walking, running, and you could barely see them. So the loon lighting would be nice. And the new path that I didn't know you were going to put in, would be great, because that's one thing we do have is walking paths through our park.
Right.
Where most parks don't have those.
The one is going right along 39, in between 39 and that road.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people walk in the road, and as you said, I think you almost bumped into somebody walking.
Yeah.
It's so dark there, I'm afraid somebody, and it's for public safety, so that's why the board moved forward on trying to get a path going that way. Yeah.
So, also I noticed there is a good flow of traffic flow through that park. You can do it coming in through one entrance and go out to the X. And I think if we do something like Frankfurt's TPA Park, we would probably not have as much traffic problem as they do, because we can do one way during the evenings and easy in and out. So I don't think you would have a lot of traffic issues there, although you'll have to convince the neighbors of that. But so I'm not kidding myself that this is going to be something easy. We probably can do it within the next year. It might be a several-year project, but we could start building on what we do have.
There you go.
Yeah. So you're proposing maybe we look into grants, and do you have ideas maybe for fundraisers and volunteers that could, because I know each one of the displays and all the lights, they're very expensive,
Yes.
and I'm sure you know that. And the other problem we have is power out there, because
that's something that's going to have to be upgraded. Because I was looking at some of the hookups out there, and I kind of
Pretty scary, aren't they? Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we're hoping, we're looking at putting security lighting out there. We were hoping to do it this year, but we weren't able. So once you put security lighting in, you're going to have more outlets.
Right.
That would be well grounded. And yeah, I agree. We do need to do a lot of things out there.
Right.
But, we're open to ideas. I mean, it's just, John and them have done very good with what they have, which I know you appreciate that, but I know I was on a committee, and that has to be almost, I don't think John was park director then, and we bought the Santa Claus on the tractor with the corn.
Right.
Now, we're talking probably 20 years ago, and it was $4,000 then.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. We'd love to.
And I think we've had the Heine family donated quite a few. The Christmas tree out there was the Lennox Nancy Wethington, in memory of her dad, Jack. And then and I think that was $700 or $800 just for the lighting and all that.
Yeah,
And then,
they're expensive.
yeah, the Heinies have done a lot. The Heinies also donate those 4 wreaths that are on the cabin every year. It's in memory, I think, of Fred, but also they've always done it since I've been there. It's just something they've always done. But the middle school donated the little penguins. I think that was something. That was $3,500 from Candy Coke out at middle school, and Karen Clark was athletic director or whatever out there. Karen's good soul. But yeah, we've had several throughout donate, and that's basically how we do it, because I had never spent any facility repair money or anything like that on that. So I don't have a Christmas line. They could donate to the park foundation, or if they donate to the park, they could also earmark their check and it would go to Christmas lights. We do have a little money, and people, there are people that give a few $100s a year, and those are for replacements. I think we spent a couple thousand in replacing lights just this year. And like Brian said earlier, he said, some of those things are pretty old. And it's like, yeah, he's 56. They were here before him, so.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Frankfurt has a lot of the service clubs that have donated different displays, so that might be an option for us to pursue.
There you go. There you go.
I think one thing you guys are going to need is somebody to head it up. I mean,
Spearhead, absolutely.
because you got your job.
Yes.
When you can't go out and solicit donations, and you will have to go out to these groups, to these businesses. And you do have to do fundraisers. So you could set up a tent at the farmer's market every week and collect donations there. You can set out kettles in the local businesses where you can, collect donations. But someone has to coordinate all that. Someone's going to have to plan all this. Someone's going to have to buy these lights.
Right.
Find out where they are. Like, you just can't buy something from Menards. You've got to buy commercial grade.
Yeah.
So-
Right, and they do have to be ordered, way in advance with those companies, but I know there's a few good companies. Would you want to work with us to put the ideas together and help us put this together and see if we could raise money?
I can try. I never have done anything like this before, so coming up here and speaking before you, it's kind of new to me. So, but I'm willing to work to try to get volunteers, because you're going to need a large body of volunteers, especially to install these lights. You just can't rely on the Parks Department employees to do it. And they will have to be maintained year after year. So raising money is going to be a constant thing for that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes, that's true. Well, we could put this on our thing that we need to do this. If you want to put together maybe some ideas and start thinking, and then we get back with you at the first of the year, because, if we're going to add anything next year, it's got to start.
Yeah, because you're going to have to raise money. You're going to have a budget for next year. You're going to have to raise that money. You're going to have to order them and then have them here ready to go.
And I think that grant that you were talking about, the mayor, it's a 50/50 grant up to $50,000, so.
It's not.
Oh, it isn't? Oh, okay, John's talked to him.
We talked this afternoon, and unfortunately, since the way that he explained it to me is the grant we already have the lights there. It is basically, the grant is for anything that is new. And since we already have the lights there, the state will not match it.
Here you go.
So that one's out.
Blew another one. Daggone it. We can take them all down, can't we, Brian?
That particular grant isn't
No.
open, from what Mayor Gentry said this
Okay, okay.
I think the idea of some of the service organizations, sororities and things like that, because I do know that some of them bought the decorations that hang downtown.
Right.
So that might be a way to go.
I do know at Frankfurt TPA Park, there's signs by a lot of the
signs
displays
before.
saying who they were donated by.
Right.
So that's something we could do as well. It's free advertisement for businesses, so it's...
Okay,
No,
well,
great ideas.
Brian, if you want to come up with some ideas and talk to some other people, and then.
Reach out to me, that'd be,
Yeah,
or, I mean,
and
if
then
we
we
can
can
set up,
start.
I'm available 24, so whenever you call, we can meet of an evening or whatever and discuss. That'd be great, yeah. And then I can come back to the park board.
A good starting point is to find out
who all your organizations are in town.
Yes.
Then find out who the contact person is.
Right.
And then go from there, and then maybe set up a time. A lot of times at their meetings, they'll allow you 5 or 10 minutes to
Right.
come and speak. Find someone who's a really good speaker who can get their thoughts across, and that's a good starting point, I think.
Yeah, that we would, because we need help from, the
Oh, yeah.
public if we're going to do this, so.
Yeah.
I represent Lebanon Community Schools, and if you would like to have contact with some of our service organizations, you could go through me, and to streamline things a little bit, I'd be happy to help with that.
Okay.
And to get a committee, you don't know what you're getting into, I'm just saying, Brian.
Well, I do volunteer work for Boone County Community Gardens, which is just started up a couple of years ago. It's a small group, so yeah, I know what's involved.
How are the volunteers there? Are they sticking around, or they come and go, or?
We have about probably 5 to 10 right now. We like more volunteers, but a lot of people say they will do it, then they never show up. It's that kind of thing. So
Right, time.
it is a challenge.
Okay, well.
It does look good. I do like the community garden, the idea of it, that's for sure. I just wondered how that was going. That's where a lot of our volunteers, they say they're going to be there, and then there's some that are diehards that are great with
Yes.
our haunted trail, but it ends up, maintenance ends up, we take the people that don't show up will take their spots, so we're guides and do a lot of things like that. So I just wondered, it seems like volunteers have gone down and down over the past, but hopefully we can gear them up, and with you spearheading the whole project, there you go. No pressure.
Right.
Yeah.
Thanks for your interest.
Yes.
Yes, we appreciate that.
Okay.
So if you want
Yes.
to put, some ideas together and get with John, and then we'll all get together and.
Okay, so I'll probably think over the next few weeks and then get with you by maybe the first of the next year.
That's great. That's great. Thank you for coming. Appreciate it.
Thank you. We
Yeah.
appreciate that. Okay, next is the director's report.
All righty. Wherever it is. I had it. Okay, and I have 20. The second annual Turkey Day Fun Run was a great success in Memorial Park on Thanksgiving Day. The run raised $5,280 for the Caring Center and the Shalom House. It was outstanding. Yeah, it was great. And it was a pretty good morning, too. I know I ate too much that day, but there were about 260 participants, and I was not one of them, by the way. Should have been. The updates to the memorial shelter, as I said earlier, looking good. Alan Milburn is spearheading that with his committee, but Alan's out there every day. I got to say he's great. Everything he does, can't thank him enough for his help and support on that project. The Christmas lights in Memorial Park were turned on Thanksgiving night. Thanks to all our maintenance crew for their hard work in installing all the lights. Obviously, all the donations that we had to get those lights there. We have a new addition this year, the Her Cabin, that Joy. So if you haven't got a selfie, go out and get the J.O. Yeah, guys did a good job on that. They really did.
That's
Candy
really cool.
Cane J, and that was their ideas too. It's like I just said J.O. and they decorated. They're so creative. I gotta say, it's really nice. So it's and there again, the Heine's donated all the wreaths that are on the cabin. Also, you saw Santa and his reindeer that used to be on the courthouse. That's moved out to us, and we did have enough power to run it, and it's at the very front on 39 there. So you can see Santa and his sled and his reindeer out on 39. Christmas in the cabin and the Christmas parade was last Saturday, December 1st. Both events had great turnouts despite the rainy weather. Despite we had two carriages going because one has not been enough, and one of the horses went down, so we had to go to one at the last minute, and it worked out. They kind of did double duty and worked other people in. There were a few upset for their wait, and I apologize for that, but that was beyond our control, and every other carriage ride out there is booked. I reached out to Lori, who is a horse, Kathy Flannery. I thank her for that, and a couple other that tried to make up for it, but I want to thank the, the carriage rides themselves. They did a real nice job. That was also sponsored and paid for. I want to appreciate that. The crowd was consistent with lots of little ones coming to see Santa. The face painter was also a big hit this year. That was something added. Also, thank you to Countryside Christian Church for serving hot chocolate in the cabin. Several families were also able to take a carriage ride around the park. The parade had about 20 floats turn out, and I think that's 3 or 4 more than last year, if I'm not mistaken. And there was a very large crowd, especially in the park. I read something where there's 150 families. There were more than that at the park, I'm sure, which I hope they made it to downtown. There were several families down Meridian Street and downtown, and then we came back up East Street after Santa was dropped off at the courthouse. And yeah, so there were a lot on Northeast Street. And hopefully we're looking for a lot more floats for next year. So get with us and we'll sign you up for next year. All the restrooms have been closed for the season. The Conservation Club property was also closed for fishing early November. We'll reopen it in the spring. I did quite a bit of work out there, cleaning up just one section of it, and it looks gorgeous. I think you were out there.
Yeah, definitely looks great.
Looks very
Yeah.
nice. Good. I checked it
Very
out.
nice.
Yeah, and if we had more time, there again, that was 3 guys, about 2.5 weeks, wasn't it? A lot to clear out, and it doesn't look like much, but it was a lot.
Oh,
Yeah.
it made a big difference.
A little bit of poison ivy here and there that the guys got, but that's just taking all the invasive species out, the Japanese barberry and the honeysuckle, stuff like that, and any trees that are 2 inches or smaller, they were taking those, kind of all the invasive species, and cleaned it up, and boy, it's going to be gorgeous. I'm just real excited about that. That is our neatest thing we have in the park system. I can't wait to have trail system going through there. Just, I don't know. Anyway, that's another project we have going on. Haven't signed a contract yet. Have a few bids out for demolition of that construction or Conservation Club building. As we discussed before, it's way too much to repair. Why throw $150,000, $200,000 in an old building? So we'll tear it down. There is a little bit of asbestos. We've already had IDEM check it and all that, but that will be torn down in the near future. I was hoping to have it done by Thanksgiving, and that didn't happen. But all park projects again are moving along. And that's pretty much, I have quite a few guys on vacation and taking their comp time from where they're really very loyal and dedicated to the parks. So they kind of, when we're busy, they know not to take vacation, or they just don't. They're allowed to, but they save them till the winter time and kind of take off. And we have all kinds of projects that we didn't get done from last year that we'll be working on this winter. In fact, we were mowing yesterday and spreading salt today. Go figure. We haven't got all our leaves up yet, so we'll be out next week. It looks like 40-degree temperature and some sun. Hopefully we can mulch up the rest of those leaves. But yeah, they were out there and there were little snowflakes hitting, but it is what it is. I think you got to get it when you can. So it was just dry enough to mulch up some of those leaves. But guys take a lot of pride. We've, I think, salted the downtown two times, chipped some ice down there too. It seemed like our salt didn't work very good. I don't know. We're learning. It's a learning experience. We can take care of our park sidewalk, but this is a little bit different animal. It looks good though. We'll be hiring in January. We have that on our budget to hire one more additional maintenance employee. We also have a part-time office helper for just a part-time employee. That's going to be Lori Frost that helped us this past summer. She's going to help out in the office, and she's taking her CPO certification, which is for pool. Which is very important, and really looking forward. She's just a pleasure to work with and very sharp lady. So looking forward to that, but we will be putting an ad in the paper pretty soon for a full maintenance employee, and it will be weekends, so they can help us with the downtown on weekends and our restroom and pretty much everything on the weekends. So that's all I have for now.
Quite a bit going on.
Yes.
It's fun.
Always. Always. And again, you know, we can't say it enough. We appreciate John and the staff at the park. They accomplish a lot with, and you know, they're building up their staff, but they still do a lot for the number of people that work out there, and we appreciate it. And it looks great.
Thank you. I would like to say one more thing. Working with Mike Burns, he'll be missed. Told him that he can, spoke with him, he can come out anytime and give us his input, and we'll go. He's been a big asset on a lot of projects.
Yes.
I think he had a little hand in on the War Memorial that went in, the new restrooms, or I call them new restrooms, they're 5 years old now. The one at Abner Longley and Memorial, the pool was a biggie, obviously.
Very big.
But the fitness equipment at in Memorial Park, he's just been involved in a lot of projects, and his heart is at the park and thinking of the citizens of Lebanon. And he's a good guy, and I appreciate all his help and his support in the past. And God bless him. Everybody say a prayer for Mike. He's going through the chemo, and that's not fun. So we hope he beats this and gets back out in the park and helps us out with that. So I want to thank Mike Burns for everything he's done.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yes, thank you, Mike. Thank you, John.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if everyone's had a chance to take a look at the claims, I'd entertain a motion to approve the claims.
Make a motion, we approve the claims.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And is there anything else to come before the board? Okay, well, before we adjourn, I'd like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy Holiday, and be safe, be careful. We'll see you next year. And now I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carried. Good evening, everyone. And thank you, Brian.
Do you have